disruption to the worldwide sporting calendar since World War II. Across the world, to varying degrees, sports events have been cancelled or postponed. Spectators have no games to watch, and players no games to play. In response, players are being encouraged to play for lives rather than for points. On this edition of The Big Picture, we will analyze the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on sports. Joining me on the program today are Kevin Pietersen, former cricketer, England. Also with us today, Nilanjan Datta, Media Director of the All India Football Federation, and Joshi John of ITW Consulting. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on this edition of The Big Picture. Kevin, let me begin the program with
Thank you.
Let's first try and analyze and try and understand the kind of impact sporting events and sports as a whole, is going through right now as a result of global lockdowns.
Well, I basically think that we're all, whether you're a sportsman or you're a spectator, we all love sport. And sport, you can sort of say, makes the world go round. A lot of people say the economy makes the world go round, coffee makes the world go round, all sorts make the world go round. But you have a look at the world. Everybody loves the sports team. There is some association to sport. And I think what we need to understand is we all understand the pandemic. We all understand where it's come from. We all understand everything in the history around what's going on around us at the moment. So we should park that to one side and think about sport and understand that I'm not just going to say this from a heartless perspective where I'm not thinking about anybody who's suffering. So we're thinking about everybody suffering, and that's absolutely fine, and we're human beings and we do that. But from the sports perspective, everybody loves sport. Everybody wants to be seeing sport. And there are some drastic situations in the world that are playing out on the front line for sure, but also to try and give people a pick-me-up. Is there a way in which we can, in some capacity, get sport started? The Premier League has suffered here. The Indian Premier League has obviously suffered in India. There are huge football leagues around the world. There's rugby championships that have been playing around the world. There is the Golf PGA Tour. There's the European Tour. There's basketball. I mean, everything's come to a standstill, and we understand that, and we understand why. The ramifications are huge financially for everybody, but I would just love to see a time in the next few months, if it's safe to do so, for players to understand that actually things are different, things are going to be different, but is there a way we can play behind closed doors so we can still give people the opportunity to smile again at their favourite sportsman playing?
Absolutely. I think those are aspects that we'll talk about as we go into this program as to what's the best way forward. But Nilanjan, as far as the impact itself is concerned, Kevin has already raised those particular issues about how major sporting leagues around the world have been affected. Those leagues were all ongoing and have had to stop as a result of COVID-19. Back home in India as well, you had the I-League, which had to be cut short mid-season with about 24 games to go. And Mohan Bagan were declared as the champions, quite rightly so as well, because they were quite high up on the points table. So the impact has been far and wide, really, as far as the pandemic is concerned.
Without any doubt, Frank, not only the I-League, the biggest footballing extravaganza, if I'm allowed to talk about football, in India we were looking forward to the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup India 2020. That has got postponed, obviously for understandable reasons. Nothing is more important than human lives. We are working on the dates with the FIFA to get it as early as possible. But in this situation, obviously, we all need to play the waiting game. One cannot rush. Kevin very rightly said sports is the unifying factor. And as and when normalcy returns, we all hope, touch it very, very soon at the earliest. I guarantee that sports will be the unifying factor again. It would history repeating itself. I just can speculate the first six of an IPL being hit, the first roar when Lionel Messi has the ball on his feet, Olympics getting into action, the Euros coming back, the entire sporting scenario coming back, and all over the world, not only just localized places where there's games would be held. We all wait to watch all of them in action. Unfortunately, can't watch KP play live, but was eagerly looking forward to comment on the IPL. He said he was supposed to be here. Earlier, the better. Come over. We are there to watch you and on the screen at least.
Absolutely. And I think sport is a unifier, and at a time like this, the sooner we can get sports going, the better it is for the society as a whole. Talking about society as a whole, Joshi John, we have not sport, but WWE, something which is close to sport. They are doing it behind closed doors. I mean, close to audiences and spectators, and they seem to be doing fairly well. Their ratings are up. People seem to be watching them because there's nothing else to watch really on the screens as far as sports is concerned. So could that be an answer somewhere in the near future? Because I know the UFC also wanted to do something like that, but they couldn't go through with it because the broadcasters didn't want to go ahead with it. But is this the new normal that we're going to see going forward?
See, these are strange times for all of us, and what is most important right now across the globe is to flatten the curve and to also see that how economies scale up. Okay, and sports is a very important factor when it comes to a lot of economies in a lot of countries. Okay, and like you rightly said, Frank, I think WWE has done a great job. It's not just WWE, it's also the government which has supported them. So in this case, it is the Florida government who has deemed WWE as an essential service, okay? Because WWE is very important for the economy of Florida. So in that case, they're able to, with clauses of course, but they're able to have live matches which is telecasted across the globe. In fact, in India, WWE has great viewership, and across the globe is the same case. So, and people are starved of live content. There are a lot of sports channels who are running rematches, old cricket matches which are there. So people want to have live content, and WWE has done a great job. So I feel everybody has to come together. It's not just the sporting bodies or the leagues, the government. A lot of factors come into the picture. Everybody has to work in tandem to bring the sporting culture back again. There will be a scare in people's mind. When will be the next time where you will see 20,000 people or 20,000 strangers together in one place? Okay, so these are questions which cannot be answered right now. But there will be a way when people work together.
Absolutely. I think that's the bottom line. We all need to work together and ensure that we come out of this strong. Only if there are lives can there be anything else. Absolutely. So, Kevin, taking the discussion forward now, it's not going to be easy for sports persons as well to just come out and start playing the moment the lockdowns are lifted, because, they'll have to train together, especially in team sports. They have to gel together. And also there's this all-important fact of, injuries as well, if they try to take to the playing field immediately. So these are some aspects that we need to consider, and we need to keep in mind the players' safety as well.
Listen, when you have a rain delay in a game of cricket, the umpires come into the rooms and they tell you we'll be starting play in no less than 45 minutes or an hour's time. And you can sort of equate that to the preparation time needed for yourself to get your body ready to be able to perform at your optimum level. So I think what governments need to do is, clearly it's not going to be a 45-minute to an hour job for them to say, right, Arsenal and Chelsea, you're playing in an hour's time. That 45 minutes to an hour needs to be the federation sitting down and saying, how can we get our players back up to optimal level where the show that they put on, the entertainment package that they put on is up to speed? Because, I don't know, you know what I'm thinking about it? Watching a warm-up game, even though it's just any live content, I think we'll all be willing to watch live content. But you also don't want to watch a product where Messi isn't his best and Ronaldo doesn't get the ball and Kohli gets knocked over from naught and Mitchell Starc bowls 6 wides down the left side, because you want to see a product that's right. Now, each cricketer knows, and I'll talk from a cricketer's perspective, each cricketer knows how long it takes to get himself up to speed. You're watching all these guys all over social media at the moment. They're keeping themselves fit. I mean, I tell you, you're going to see some of the fittest sportsmen you have ever seen. They may have skills that have diminished over the last month or two, but these guys are going to be so fit. They're all over their bikes. They're all over their rowers. They're all over their treadmills. So it's that skill level. How long will it take for your skill level to get back to optimum? And then you can see some of the fittest sportsmen you have ever seen. They may have skills that have diminished over the last month or two, but these guys are going to be so fit. They're all over their bikes. They're all over their rowers. They're all over their treadmills. So it's that skill level. How long will it take for your skill level to get back to optimum? And that's where the federations can work that out. It might take a week or two. It might take 3 weeks. But I think they will get the inside information from the governments to say to the federations, right, we're looking at sport to come back the middle of June. You guys will be allowed to train behind closed doors from the middle of May. Go for it.
Okay. Taking that particular aspect forward, Nilanjan, as far as federations are concerned, as a whole, what do you believe that they need to do at a time like this so that they can keep their players pepped up? What is it that players are possibly doing and should be doing at a time like this?
Well, the players are obviously working at their respective residences. There's a curriculum which has been provided to them, the age group teams from our side. There's been monitoring being done each and every day. They need to fill up what they have done. It's individual tailor-made program for each of the players because someone had a niggle maybe at the hamstring, someone had a calf muscle, someone had a bad back. So those programs differ. Obviously, they can't get out and train outdoors. They are training indoors. So with the ball, the strategies and the tactics, you need to get it done. You can only get it done as and when everyone assembles. But also the other part, as far as organization is concerned, the logistics part and getting the infra ready would be a big challenge because the ground conditions, the stadium, the branding, all of them has not been done. It takes a bit of a time. And also the logistics as and when. It's not only organizing of a match. The teams need to travel from one part to the other. In Europe, maybe in buses they can. In a country like India, you cannot travel from one venue to the other in a bus. Either you need to fly. Hardly people travel by train. So you are coming in direct contact with the public. As and when the government orders are lifted and the green signal and the green tick comes in, everyone is waiting for that.
Joshi, we spoke about how sports has a major impact on the economy as well. Let's not forget, the industry also employs a lot of people as a whole, and the allied sector. And you representing a consulting firm that works closely with sports and sports people, how difficult is it going to be to stay afloat as well at a time like this, and also the players, because many leagues, many federations are talking about pay cuts. The money is not coming in really. There are no broadcasts that are taking place. So there's no advertising as well. So how do you deal with a situation like this?
So I'll just give you an example of the Olympics, which rides on years of planning. So if you see, right from the international broadcasters, to even the taxi drivers in the country, all of them were looking forward for the Olympics to happen because there's a lot of money riding on it. There are about 70 odd companies from locally, that is from locally Japan. There are about 70 odd brands who have taken up the tier 3 sponsorship. Okay. And that amounts to about $3 billion of sponsorship in an Olympics. Okay. We're not talking about the long-term IOC sponsors like Toyota, Bridgestone. Okay. Just the local sponsors amount to about $3 billion. So we're talking about huge monies. Right now, the good thing is that Olympic is postponed to next year. But again, for the next 1 year, what are we going to do? There's a lot of fundings which have gone from the government side for infrastructure, for the venues. All that will be parked. Otherwise what would have happened is once the Olympic is over, a lot of venues will go into for renting purpose, or it will be used as venues for events, large concerts, etc. So all that is put on hold right now, and it is a ripple effect. It's not just the broadcaster or the players. Everybody gets affected. Right from a taxi driver who's there in that country to the broadcaster, everybody gets affected. And like Kevin said, there has to be a contingency plan. Okay. From an IPL point of view, we'll have to think about if we should have matches played indoors, closed doors, because India is a tough country. How do we play that? These are things which the federation, the board has to plan on over a period of time. Right now, for the next 2 months, we can be sure that nothing will happen. But what will happen in September, October is something which we should think ahead.
Okay.
Just talking about the IPL there.
Yes.
Clearly, you have a look at a city like Mumbai, huge cosmopolitan city. There are 3 stadiums in Mumbai, and at the moment they can't do it. in June, July, August, they won't be able to do it because of monsoons. But is there a way of making sure that they try and figure a way in a window in, say, September, October time, where you can play it in two ways? You can either play it in a reduced, you're only playing one team once, and then there's a semi-final and a final, or can you play it like a World Cup, like I've played that many World Cups, where you pool, so you divide the two, the teams into two groups of four, play once, semi-final, final. So it's a reduced tournament, played over 3 venues in Mumbai over 2 weeks. Can that work? These are the things that I'm sure the BCCI, Sourav Ganguly, and the ministers, and I'm sure Mr. Modi would be looking at, because the IPL contributes around $15 billion to the economy in India. It's a big play, and we know how important cricket is to the country.
Absolutely. I think these are some ways, something that we can work out really going forward, But, Kevin, since we are here, there's another follow-up question, not related to cricket, but, generally sport as a whole. What do you do with the ongoing leagues that have been suspended? I mean, how do you decide on the way forward, really, as far as, take, for instance, the NBA in America, the EPL in the United Kingdom, or any other football leagues, because they're all midway through their seasons?
I think the reason why they are buying themselves some time, and buying be the operative word there, because it comes down to finances, it comes down to broadcasting rights, and it comes down to money. And I see it here. It's breaking news the whole time. Today is Friday. Every day is the same. But I know that the FA have a huge meeting about the Premier League to find out, because they want to try and play it by the end of June. They don't play by the end of June, then it comes into the transfer market, and then players are free agents. But they have to play it by the end of June, because then Sky, which is the biggest broadcaster, and BT, or BT and Sky combined, could fine the FA £1 billion or something. So it all comes down to money. So how they do it, is there a way of postponing that fund? Is there a way of coming to some sort of an agreement with the broadcaster to say to the broadcaster, listen, these are unprecedented times. We cannot do anything about this. There's nothing we can do. Shall we call it quits now? And then we can try and make up for it by playing more games next season, or you guys have more access to our players. Because each team gives broadcasters, as I know, when commentating, you get access to players as part of a broadcasting deal. So do you get more access to players so you can sort of make up for the losses of this year? Can players create more content for your broadcaster? Listen, there are so many different permutations here, but it all comes down to, unfortunately, this guy.
Absolutely. I think the green man speaks most at the end of the day. So, Nilanjan, talking about money, talking about, how it all comes down to money, of course. There are several franchises across the world that have asked some of their players maybe to take a pay cut, maybe, to work out some kind of a staggered deal over the next 2 years or till things normalize. Could that also be an option? Because, there are some players who don't want to let go of that as well, because some of them could be at the fag end of their career, so they want to make as much as possible, because those kind of aspects also need to be considered.
Yeah, unusual times call for such kind of measures. Obviously, we do understand that everyone are the professionals, the players will have their own right, within their own right, to earn that money. But what are we here all for? Everyone is there for the sport to begin, and obviously sports is very much interconnected and all enveloped in that envelope of money and the broadcasting rights. So unless we have the action, unless the corporate world, which is coming and functioning and helping each one of the sport all around, they are not able to sustain it, or they are having doubts how does sport move ahead. So maybe it will be depending from individual to individual, and the kind hearts that we have all over the world, I believe so people will be coming something deciding as to how we can and how we should be molding it.
Is it safe to say then, Joshi John, finally, that, this is unprecedented, like Kevin has said? I think that's the right word to use at a time like this, that sport may not be the same again.
It may be the same, but it will definitely take time. And we will definitely see a lot of technology coming into play into sports. Okay. If you see, esports is done very well from the last few years, and if you see, there are about 600 million active users in esports. So how do we get real world sports into esports? That is something which needs to be figured out. A good example can be, there's a very popular motorsports called as NASCAR. In the month of March, there was a e-NASCAR which was conducted, wherein the real drivers were competing against each other in a virtual simulation. Okay, so these are unprecedented times, and we have to look for ways, look for innovations where we can get technology and sports together, and at the end of the day, see how fans react to it. Okay, so that is one thing which needs to be worked upon. It will take some time. A lot of companies in the back end are working on the technology aspect, which you will start seeing in the coming months.
Okay, so unprecedented times are also calling for new measures, and technology is leading the front there, is what you're suggesting. It's time now to get closing, concluding remarks from all my guests with the best way forward. Starting first with you, Kevin.
Yeah, I just think if you just go back to that there and being unprecedented times, I think that players just need to understand, accept it wholeheartedly, that things are not going to change for a very long time. Until we find a vaccination for COVID-19, things are not going to change. And sportsmen need to understand that, and I'm sure they do understand that. Now, I'm not pointing fingers at sportsmen, because I once was a sportsman, and you understand the entertainment that you bring to television and to spectators. But sportsmen might not be able to play in front of spectators. And I've seen some very famous NBA basketballers who are worth about 500 million talking about the fact that, I don't want to play if there's no spectators. Well, guess what? Spectators can't go to the ground because of a pandemic. So if any sportsman thinks that they don't want to play because in front of the sport, they need to think again. They need to understand they're bringing entertainment to television screens to people who may be lying in hospital wanting to just watch something on television. So that's the new entertainment. And you are right, NASCAR did it, Formula One did it. I think Ben Stokes even competed in the Formula One simulation that took place a couple of weeks ago. So in terms of closing, I'd say we just need to be patient over the next month or two. I think governments are doing the best that they can. Here in the UK, they're trying as hard. I know that these guys are hardly sleeping, a couple of them. I know in India, they're doing the most incredible job. I mean, you've got 1.3 billion people in your country. So to be able to contain so many people and try and bring this under lock is going to take a Herculean effort. Sportsmen, people all need to realize that actually the true heroes are the people fighting on the front line to save lives. But we also, as sportsmen, understand the role that we might have to play, which I agree with you is going to be completely different in 2 or 3 months' time. And until we find a vaccination, that won't change.
Okay, all right. London?
Well, I need to give a big salute to all the sports person in the country who have gone out. There are instances of players going out to donate blood, players going out to help the needy with regular food items, players going out to obviously work in call centers, the call of their conscience, to help out as to how things can be reaching out there. Many of them have contributed all over the world. So a big salute to all of them. I would say this is, we need to play the waiting game, the holding game, football-wise, and we'll be getting our chances. Counter-attack, the city comes to a standstill, we kick off, or the umpire or referee say, let's play, and we go. Waiting for that day, but difficult times, but yeah, that's no other option. It is what ways, and we are helpless.
At the end of the day, it is true. It is what it is, and we have to take it as it comes. Joshi, close the show for us with your concluding remarks.
Yeah, Frank. These are unprecedented times, and we have to be patient because none of us have a clue as to what will happen in the next 15 days or a month. So we have to be patient, but there needs to be contingency plans put in place for the next 6 months or for the next 1 year. And that can happen when a lot of people come together and work together. That is the various sporting bodies, to leagues, to government officials. We will definitely overcome. We have overcome in the past, and we will need to be positive.
Okay, be positive. We shall overcome, and things will get better. But until then, stay safe, stay at home, and also observe what the governments are telling you, is what the panelists are suggesting. We shall triumph at the end. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of The Big Picture. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on the program and putting things
Thank you.